So today I'm going to be showing you how to join crochet motifs using the Flat Single Crochet Join. This is a nice flat join that will not protrude from your work. What you're going to need are the motifs that you want to join together, the yarn that you're going to be using to join them, the appropriate sized crochet hook. I recommend an awful lot of stitch markers and a pair of scissors to cut your ends at the end. Before you start joining your motifs together, it is always incredibly helpful to have a row of single crochet going around the edge. This makes it much easier to line your stitches up correctly. You can then join them with stitch markers along the edge to hold them in place, and this means that as you crochet from one side to the other, you can do so much more quickly and without going wrong, hopefully, in where you're lining up your stitches. So I have handily marked my very corner stitches. So these are going to be the first two stitches that I joined together using a stitch marker. I'm then going to grab another stitch marker and line up a number of stitches, and then every so often insert another stitch marker to hold them together. As I said, for me this makes the process much easier when I start crocheting. Join me when I get to the end. As you can see, I have now placed all of my stitch markers, so I'm ready to begin. I'm going to start by taking my yarn and making a slip knot. Next, I'm going to remove my first stitch marker and just through the motif closest to me, I'm going to place my hook through the stitch and attach the yarn by making a slip stitch. I'm then going to chain one to reach working height and make a single crochet. There we have our first single crochet. I'm then going to pull up a large loop, take the hook out from that loop, and I tend to place it on my finger so I can't lose it. Find the corresponding corner stitch on the other side and place my hook through it, but instead of going this way, I'm going to be going from the other side towards me. I'm then going to place the yarn back on my hook, tighten up that loop, and then pull the yarn through that stitch. Very straightforward. Next, I'm just going to place a single crochet into the next stitch on the brown motif. Again, pull up a large loop, find the next stitch along on the cream motif, place my hook through in the opposite direction, place the yarn back onto my hook, tighten up, and then pull the yarn through the stitch. Now you may find it easier to turn your work in this direction. As you're working, you may find it easier to work with it on an angle. Do whatever feels most comfortable for you. I'm going to keep working along these motifs and show you what to do when you get to the end. As you can see, my two motifs are now joined by a beautiful flat single crochet join. Now your next question will be, what happens when you get to the end and need to join your next two motifs? So I have handily already joined those together using stitch markers. Let's just grab my yarn from under there. And it is lovely and straightforward. You are going to grab your yarn again like you were before. Take out that very corner stitch marker, place your hook through the very corner stitch and carry on just like you were before. So do a single crochet, pull up a loop, find the opposite corner stitch, come back down through it, stick it through your loop, pull tight, and then a little bit fiddly of the first one, pull it back through that stitch, and just keep going until all of the motifs that need to be joined along this row are done. I shall meet you at that point and show you what to do next. Now that my motifs have been joined together nicely in this direction, and you do that for every single row that's going in that direction, it's time to go back and do the opposite direction. As you can see, I've already added my stitch markers, so I'm ready to go. So just as before, I'm going to start by making a slip knot. Head over to that first stitch right at the corner, pop my hook through the cream stitch and join with a slip stitch. Just like last time, I'm going to chain 1 and place a single crochet back into that stitch. I'm then going to, pull up a large loop, find the corner stitch from the other side, come back in the opposite direction, pop the loop over, pull it tight, and pull my yarn through. So starting off is exactly the same as it was for the previous rows that we did. So what I want you to do is to do your stitches along this section and then meet me when we get to this join here to see how you're going to skip from one pair to the next pair. So I've worked along this row here and now I'm at the join. As you may or may not be able to see very clearly right now, I have put my last stitch into the corner stitch. So the corner stitch for each square has 2 stitches, one from when you worked up this way and one from when you worked along this way. So what am I going to do to get from this side to this side of the join? So first I'm going to undo my stitch marker to give myself a bit more flexibility to work with. I'm going to pull my loop small again, and I'm going to work into that corner stitch again. So it's already got a stitch from going this way, now it's going to get one from going this way. Now because we are technically jumping over a join, which is a little bit of space, try not to hold your tension too tight because you don't want to distort the shape of the join. Again, going back through that very corner stitch just to do the other side of pulling your yarn through. Then exactly as before, you're going to keep making stitches going along until you get to the end of this row. There we are. So that's what your join looks like when all 4 squares are joined. It is still beautifully flat. So I hope that you have found this tutorial helpful. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see the next one too.